From where the West begins in Fort Worth, Texas, to around the globe, you are listening to Talk in the Night. I'm your host, Paranormal Phil, and later on in the show tonight, we're going to be joined by not one but two guests, Nicole Gaspard and Bill Betts, as we talk about the ITC apps and their Facebook Live sessions that they do for those apps. But first, up on the Talk of the Night website at talkofthenight.weebly.com, under the story of the day, secret tunnel found under, and let me see if I can pronounce this right, because I was working on the word earlier and I wasn't too sure if I was going to pronounce it right. So Teotihuacan Pyramid. So, secret tunnel found under the Teotihuacan Pyramid. Archaeologists have discovered a tunnel and chamber hidden beneath the 2,000-year-old Pyramid of the Moon. The ancient structure, which is situated in Mesoamerica city of Teotihuacan in Mexico, was used for human sacrifice as well as to conduct ceremonies to honor the great goddess Teotihuacan. I swear that I'm going to say that so many times I'm going to get it down pat. The new tunnel and chambers were discovered during an electrical receptivity study of the structure by researchers from the National Institute of Anthropology and History, INAH, who have been working together with the Institute of Geophysics at the National Autonomous University. The tunnel's entrance was found back at the start of this month. The tunnel is towards the south of the Plaza de la Luna, but it's probable that there is another entrance towards the eastern side, said Veronica Ortega, director of the Plaza de Luna Conservation Project. Let's see. Archaeologists anticipate that the new chamber could contain human remains as well as greenstone artifacts, much like those found within other parts of the pyramids back in the 1980s. What's found inside could help unravel the relationship that this ancient metropolis had with other religions of Mesoamerica, said Ortega. So that's up on the Talk in the Night website. So let's get into the ITC apps with my guests, Bill Betts and Nicole Gaspard. Welcome to the show, you two.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me aboard.
It's great to have you guys on. All right. So let's get into the whole show and everything like that. And for those listening, if you go to Spreaker.com and click on the player, there's a little chat bubble. Click on that, you can pop in the chat. And I don't know which one of you two have the mic close to your mouth or anything like that, but it's causing a lot of static sound.
Yeah, I got my headphones. Headset.
Yeah, you might want to move the mic just a little bit away because it's making sounds and it makes it hard to hear.
Okay.
Am I okay?
You're better?
You're sounding good. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I was just getting a lot of sounds like you rubbing your hand or something across the mic or something like that.
I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. All right, so let's get into the show. Now, this is a question for both of you. You can answer one at a time. So tell the listeners a little bit about you and how you got started or interested in the paranormal field and when you did?
Okay.
Like, me to start, or you want to still?
I'll let you start, Nikki.
Well, I'm an author and paranormal investigator, and also sensitive. So it's like it started when I was younger, and I had a lot of spirit encounters. So, and then I found I started with the SLS actually with ITC Apps, and I worked my way up to the NRS, Brian Holloway and Javier Yes. So we start testing the apps for them.
Okay. And how about you, Bill?
Sure. I started a long time ago when Brian first started with his app. That was umpteen years ago, at least about like 12, 13 years. And first app that I did, I was running other stuff as well, and I started using. And when I first started using his app, I got some replies on it like crazy when I first started. And I had an experience a long time ago with a dark shadow, and that started everything. And then I started getting interested into the paranormal. And then I started looking at different things I could see if I could try to communicate and different things and using different equipment. And I came across Brian Holloway's apps, and I started using. I used it once, and I got hooked, and that was it. I was so hooked on that app that I've been doing it ever since.
All right. So now this, of course, is for both of you. You can either one of you can answer, or both of you can answer it. Tell the listeners what the ITC apps are.
Sure.
You want to
answer it? I'll let you go ahead.
They're ITC source for interstate communications. So we use some of the apps to try to communicate with us first.
All right, and so are they just like apps that you can get on your phone or a tablet, or can they be downloaded to like a computer?
Yeah, it works on any device as long as it's using a Google Play or Android, or I guess smartphones too, smart devices.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I know when you talked a little bit about you and everything like that. How did you find these apps and start using them? And this is, of course, for both of you.
Okay. I'll let you start, Nicole.
Oh. Gosh, it's a lot of ago since I started with the SMS. I forgot how old I was. I think I was in my 30s.
All right.
And I worked my way up.
And of course, we're not going to ask how old you are now. But
you won't believe me if I told you.
Yeah. But let's see. So how did you go about finding them, Nicole?
I think it was more out of curiosity and wanting to listen to my dirt guys. And I want to try these, and it seemed to work for me. And I learned to listen to my inner voice, or what do you call it? Yeah, inner voice.
Mm-hmm.
When I actually got lost in the woods, and I wrote that in my first book, I got lost in the woods, and somehow I heard this voice, and it all of a sudden helped me guide me out of the woods, even though it's on the other side of our campground.
Mm-hmm.
And I was out of there, and they told me I was gone for an hour. So after that, it kind of sparked my interest in, maybe I can hear them.
Okay, and how about you, Bill?
Okay, it's been a long time, but I started off as well with the Echo Vox. I used the first one, and I was using it, which is, it's a great app. I started using that. And then, I just had a little trouble with it and understanding it. And I started using it for a while, and it just wasn't, I started using it, but then it wasn't for me. It just, something about it, I couldn't understand it too well. And then I went on to, I started looking through different apps and trying them out, and I found something that worked for me. And then I tried Brian Holloway's app, and ever since that, I got it.
So how did you go So how did you go about finding these apps? Did you do like a Google search or?
Yeah, I went on Google and I found them on Google, and ever since then I was hooked.
And are these apps like paid apps, or are they free apps, or both?
Yes, they have paid apps, and they also have free apps. Spain Paranormal, which is Harvey Ayers' app, but they're real cheap. They're like $2-3, barely nothing.
All right, yeah, because I was looking at one earlier for researching the show, and I think on iOS, because I got an Apple iPhone, and it was almost $10 for it. So I wanted to check.
Some of them can be pricey, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So are there multiple versions of the app, the ITC apps, or just the one?
No, there's plenty of. They have all sorts of them. Yeah, him and Brian definitely both have.
Light app.
Right. They both work together.
Okay. So there are multiple versions that you can download. It's not just one that you can go to, and it just does all the stuff that basically all the others would.
Right. It's all reverse audio, and notice there's no words can come through or anything like that. It's all reverse audio and everything else.
Right.
So, and it's,
All right. And, of course, the next question for you guys is for both of you. What can people expect from using these apps? What can they get out of them?
Oh, that's the big question.
Yeah.
They can get a lot of responses off of it. That is automatically off the bat, And, yeah, but they will get a lot of responses off of it, but it takes time to build up a respect for the spirits to communicate with you. It's not like where you just turn it on and you get responses off of it. It takes a lot of time, a lot of practice, a lot of focusing, a lot of understanding about the app inside and out, and understanding how it works and everything else. There's a lot that goes with it.
Right. Yeah. It also depends on the location, as it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Now, of course, before anything like apps ever came out, there was, of course, the Radio Shack hack, and this is for the older people that know what those things are. Is basically it's a Radio Shack radio that has just been altered to continuously scan through the stations. Now, is the ITC apps like that, basically, but just in an app form?
Yes. I think so.
Yeah, in some ways it is, but see, a lot of hack radios are all forwards, There is some of them do have reverse hack radios, but mostly they're all reverse channels going through channels and forwards, But they do have the SB7 that's in reverse. But but your chances with that is kind of 50% with that. With the apps, it's kind of easier because it's like if something comes through, it's right there and then, and it's all reverse,
Right.
All right. And so it's basically scanning through like stations, or is it just picking up frequencies from all over the place?
No, it's what it is. It's been programmed into the app, but is broken down in bits and pieces, thrown reverse.
Yeah.
And it's been fine-tuned where no words will be said. It's all like chopped up words thrown up in reverse. And if it's in, and that's basically how it works. Like it says, hello, in reverse they'll say the other word, but it's all chopped up though.
Okay, so it's not...
And then next,
Go ahead.
So it's not like, it's not like a word saying hello and backwards. It's all chopped up as well. The hello will be chopped up backwards.
Okay, so it's not like the Radio Shack hack where it's scanning through channels. It's all stuff that's programmed into it.
Exactly.
Right.
Now, of course, how do you got idea on how these apps actually work as far as because you mentioned that they're programmed, but
yes,
what or how do you think they work as far as communicating with the spirits?
Well, I'll let you answer that one. Go ahead, I'll let you speak.
I was thinking they would have to be there just to manipulate it to make it work.
Okay, so they have to. You have to be at a location where there is spirit activity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
yes.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I say, yeah, some forms, yes, but it all depends on the person, like she said, depending on where you're at, what locations you're at, and a lot of other stuff, But, anything's possible. You could be at a silent home at your home, and you could run an app, but then you could draw in spirits as well,
Right.
using those apps.
Okay, yeah, because I know Nicole runs them out of her place, and she's got a lot of activity there.
Yeah.
Now,
You got too much.
They like
same here. It's like sometimes I wish I could just say, "Shut up! I don't want to even talk to you, spirits anymore." But
I know the feeling.
but I don't disrespect the spirits and everything like that. So I just shut them out completely from time to time. But so what are some of the features on these apps?
it depends on which one. Some of the apps I noticed have some ambient bass on it. That's what I like about them. The ambient music. How it goes with that app.
Yeah, ambient banks.
Yeah, I said it.
So are they like an
it's kind of-
Ovilus, like that kind of feature on it, or a digital recorder, or that's what I'm talking about features. Does it have like obelisks, digital recorders, or what other kind of features are on them?
Oh, it has the like Javier. It has like, let's say it has the okay. There's like a slider there. There's numbers where like 1 to 1,000, and you can you can set up the dial on it by sliding it over, and it can make it as fast as you want or as slow as you want. You adjust the speed of it.
Okay.
For communication where you can understand it better. And Javier's got his apps where it has the echo in it.
Yeah, the echo.
Yeah.
All right, so you can change the speed of how the word's coming out.
Right.
Is that like changing the pitch or just changing the speed of it?
Just changing the speed where it could slow it down. Where you have to set it to where you feel comfortable at a level spot. Like a level speed.
Mm-hmm.
Of how fast you want it to speak or how slow you want it to speak, basically.
All right, and what are some of the different modes on these apps? Because I was looking at it, doing research on them, and I'm trying to get to the page here to where it talked about it. So give me a second here to get to that page.
Okay.
It was, I think, ITC Apps digital dowsing. But it's just like modes for like random, sensor, mix. That's what I'm talking about on modes.
Okay, like modes. You mean like random modes? It goes to random chopped up words in reverse.
Yeah.
Is that what you're meaning?
Well, like this website says, like random uses software to create a random selection. Sensor uses the device available sensor to create a selection. Mix, which uses both sensor and random at the same time. Voices phonic, male or female. There's phonic, uses just phonic basic sounds from form speech. You can do a male voice, a female voice,
Right.
stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about, like the modes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they have modes on it where a male and a female can come through. It's set up like that, where it can use a male's voice and a woman's voice in reverse, and that's all chopped up. Men and women's voices chopped up in reverse. Right.
I can't see it right. But I think it's called the Spec Studio 1 and 2. I mean, 2 doesn't.
Right. Yeah.
Okay,
so Studio 2 is women and men, and Studio 1 is all men.
Okay, so now, like you said, there was one for all men. What if a female spirit came through? Would that come through as like a male voice, or?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it would. Yes, I do believe so.
Okay, yeah, because that would be weird having the female voice or female spirit come through.
Yeah,
and they got a male's voice, so.
Right. Yeah, I know it's kind of weird. Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
But it's just the way how it's programmed. It's basically not on a male voice or a female voice. It's on what it's set up to be in reversed, and what comes through it, it comes through it. Right. And that's just what it is. It don't have to be a female. He could have it set up with just a female voice and a guy come through, but still it's there for communication with the spirits. You know, it does. You know what I'm saying? You know.
Yeah. Now, how many words do you think are in the program database of these apps?
Oh,
Oh, a lot.
yeah, there is so much. I don't have no idea of how many words I put in
it would be like a big dictionary type list of words.
Yeah.
Yes, in that kind of way, yes. I believe so.
Sorry, I'm just typing in the chat room. We got somebody that found the chat room finally. Like I said,
all right.
If you are listening to the show on Spreaker, on the player, there's a little chat bubble. Click on that, pop in the chat, say hi, let me know you're listening. Let Nicole and Bill know you're listening. Of course, they're not in the chat room right now.
No.
But definitely, if you got a question in the chat room and you want to ask that in the second hour, I'll definitely relay the question to them. So let's get into one more question before we go to our first commercial break. And I know you guys mentioned it earlier in the show, but who created these apps?
Ryan Holloway and Javier Sanz.
Yep.
Okay, so it was just only those two, or are they just the ones that originally started it?
They are the original one that started it.
Yeah.
Okay, so are there others that have created these type of apps, or for ITC, or is it just those two?
There are others, but I prefer their apps. Like I used to use the Isabas.
Right.
So, yes.
Yeah, because I mean, there are so many apps out these days. Some work, some don't work.
Exactly.
There is an app that I like to use. Some people say it's fake, the picture thing can be a little faked, but on the app. But for the most part, it's actually snapping a picture when there is a spirit there. I know because I can actually see the spirit. Now, it doesn't look like an actual spirit; just looks like wisp of stuff and like that. But I know the spirit is there, so I'm wondering if the app is just not compatible enough to like take the picture of the spirit or anything like that. But who knows? All I know is that app works, but there are going to be people that say these type of apps don't work, and we're going to get into that when we come back from this first commercial break. And you are listening to Talking Tonight with me, Paranormal Phil, and my guests, Bill Betts and Nicole Gaspar. We'll be right back.
When you feel like you're all alone, you're so disconnected.
Are you a ghost hunter or paranormal enthusiast and need equipment to go out and investigate locations that have spirit activity? Well, GhostStop.com has all the equipment that you will need. They have a Boo Buddy ghost hunting kit for $169.95, or how about a Keep Calm and Ghost Hunt t-shirt for $19.95. Click on the banner ad at the top of the Talking Tonight website and get shopping today. GhostStop.com, your one-stop shop for all your ghost hunting needs. Do you have a paranormal team? Are you a small-time author? Do you have a radio show that you would like to promote? Is there anything that you would like to get the word out there about but don't have a big budget? Well, Talking Tonight has an opportunity for you to sponsor the show without breaking your wallet. Contact the show at talkingtonight@outlook.com or on the show's website or Facebook page for more details. Do you think you have a haunted or cursed object? Well, Nicole Gaspard does, and in her book Haunted Vessels and Cursed Objects, she talks about her continued paranormal and supernatural ghost encounters, haunted dolls, and other items that are supposed to be haunted or cursed. Pick up your copy today on Amazon.com. Okay, and we are back with my guests, Bill Betts and Nicole Gaspard. And for those calling in right now, the phone lines are not open until the second hour. So no phone calls will be coming in to the show until the second hour. And everything like that. That second hour is for the listeners to call in, but this first hour is for me to get through the questions. So please do not call until the second hour. Thank you. All right. So before the break, we were talking about people that believe these apps just don't work, or they're no good or anything like that, and they're worthless. What are your thoughts on people that say that stuff, like these apps don't work? Like I said, some of these apps don't work, some do.
Right.
Right.
I guess you have to try and, so like, let's say, you hear your name or something, and that's pretty relevant. And also, what got me hooked was one time I was setting what was it, Bill? Was it The Witch? I actually turned my eyes black. I made me believe I heard that.
All right, so it's got to be contextual, basically,
Right.
because I know the same thing with the Ghost Box, with it scanning, or the Frank's Box, the Radio Shack hack. Where it's scanning through the stations, it's spitting out random words, which I believe these apps do, and but unless it's like an obelisk, unless it's got that contextual thing, like it's responding to a question, is what I'm getting at.
Right. I think you have to find the sweet spot. Like, for me, for the Spirit Box 7, I like the certain settings. So once you hit a certain setting, I think that helps.
All right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bill.
I would say exactly. She's right. It's just some people. It's just based on a person of what they like and what they don't like. Some people have that, and that's just like it don't work. It means it doesn't really necessarily work for them. They have to choose what they feel that's comfortable with them and what works for them. In my point of view, their apps works for me, but everybody has their opinion.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, of course. I mean, there have been people that say these apps don't work, or I don't trust them and stuff like that. And of course, that's their prerogative.
Right.
Me, I'll use some apps. Like I said, I use a app called Ghost Detect Pro, which I test it with my own experience, my own abilities, to know if it works or not. But and I don't know if you do this or not, Nicole, but do you test these apps with your own psychic abilities to make sure that they're working right? Like, can you hear the spirits talking as they're going through that thing, or you just focus on that app?
Sometimes I can hear them. It depends just how focused I am.
All right. Now, let's get into some of the things that you have heard on them, what you got through these sessions that you do.
Okay.
This is for both of you.
Okay.
Okay.
So, what are some of the things that you guys have heard on them or got through them?
Oh, and sometimes there's a lot.
There is so much.
Well, I mean, name a few.
Okay. I hear my name. I hear my full name, or they call me my nickname. Or they would say their name.
So, have you? What are some of the stuff that you've heard through them, Bill?
Well, I heard my first name that came through quite a few times. I heard numbers of things. It told me, I asked how many spirits I heard. It'll give me a number. It'll say 8, 10, or whatever. And sometimes I hear, different replies like hello. You always hear hello. I get that a lot. I hear spirits all the time. I hear that. I hear help me. They always say that. Yeah, swear words. I guess some swear words too. Some they swear. It's hard to say, but they do.
Well, it sounds like the Frank's box and stuff like that. The Beige hack where it's going through all those stations. And of course, it's gonna pick up words like that, cuss words or anything like that. It's just a different way of communicating with them.
Right.
Are there anything else that was unusual that you've heard through them that you probably wouldn't have heard through like a Frank's box or anything like that?
No. Recently, I've been hearing, "We love you." It's like that. We love you.
Yeah, I heard something too. I heard a voice that came through and it says, "Bill, I'm here." That was odd to me, hearing that. It says, "Bill, I'm here." That was crazy. I had it, and I was like, holy shit. I couldn't believe it said that. But it said that, and I was shocked. That was odd. That was very odd to hear that.
Now, of course, me being in the paranormal field for over almost 30 years and everything like that, I like to play devil's advocate here. to go with the other side. So you probably expected this coming from me. So I mean, like I said, the Frank's box is going to do that, as well as these apps, but it almost sounds like it's just programmed to say that, like a artificial intelligent thing, rather than actually be contextual. What I'm saying as far as what unusual stuff that you might have heard is like, trying to think of an example. Like, say you don't lock your door and the spirit says your door is unlocked, and of course it is. Because, I mean, something like, Bill, I'm here, it just almost sounds like it's just something artificially intelligent, programmed into the system, and it's not actually the spirit talking. I mean, what do you think about something like that?
I'll let you go, Nicole.
I learned a lot. I guess it depends on how or what we ask them.
Okay, so it all depends on the question that you're asking the spirits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all depends on what you're asking the spirit, and it's like she says, it all depends on the spirit of exactly what you say to it and what replies you get off of it back. It all depends. It depends on what you say. If you say something like, what is your name? Or something like that. If it says a name, you get a response, and it says a name, you're talking to a spirit, And programming, everything's like I says, everything's reverse audio, and that's all chopped up words, mixed up words, all blended, all together, and thrown in reverse. And there's no voice that actually can come through at all. So, it's kind of hard, it's hard, but.
Yeah. Now, say you just turn on the app and just want to listen, not ask a question. Is it going to come up with words like the Frank's box or Ghost box or the Radio Shack hack? Just using all those type of terms just so somebody knows what I'm talking about. But is it going to go through words even if you don't talk, or do you have to talk to get a response?
And it has the words you should listen to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It depends. It all depends. It depends. I mean, you could turn it on and say nothing, and you could get responses, and sometimes you cannot. But a lot of times you have to use it and actually talk to it to get a response off of it.
All right, yeah, because like I said, with the Frank's box, stuff like that, it's continuously scanning through the thing, and it's going to pop out random words.
Right.
And sometimes it's contextual, so that's why I wanted to see if it was like different from those Frank's boxes, or if it was basically the same thing, just a more hyped up version.
It's just basically like the same thing, except it's all reverse audio. If you don't speak to it, yeah, it could come through. It could say a word, and and if you're talking to it, you get responses as well. But that's anything you use. Either it's an app or a hack radio, you're still gonna get what you get.
Right.
All right. So when did both of you decide to start doing these Facebook Live sessions for these apps?
About a year ago or a couple years?
Yeah, about like a year and a half now. At least. We met through off of another guy that was running Javier's app, and then after that, we met up and started talking little by little, and then we became close, real close friends ever since then. And then after that, we decided she was doing her thing, as she normally does, live, and she'd been doing live before me, and we met up, and then after that, started tagging up. She asked me, hey, would you like to go live with me one day? And I said, sure, I would love to. And ever since that, we've been doing it since.
Okay, so you guys just got together from meeting with or through somebody else and
right.
started doing these apps and everything like that and decided to do these things like that as far as the sessions. Now, when you do these sessions on Facebook, because I rarely get a chance to see them, I'm so busy with my radio show and everything like that.
Yeah, I understand.
Sure, I lost what I was, my whole train of thought. Stupid spirits, shut up.
Hard to
But is it just Nicole using the apps, or do both of you use the apps and switch off?
In her live feed?
Yeah, on the Facebook Live. Is it just her using the apps and then you just kind of listen and help decipher what it's and communicate with it? Okay, so you don't actually, Bill, you don't actually use the apps when you're on live with her, just like, say she decides to turn off her app and then you use yours. That's not the case, right?
No. When she lives, she uses the app, and I listen to it whenever we both help each other to understand what's coming through and everything else. So basically, no, we just use one app.
Okay, so that way when we get into the part of the show when either listeners call in or pop in the chat to ask a question, I wanted to, especially at the end of the show, I wanted to find out about that. So why do you think these apps work well for spirit communication?
I'll let you go first, Nicole.
Well, I think it's a little bit easier for them to manipulate the energy as they come around. They can use it. What do you think, Bill?
Well, my point of view is it's all chopped up words in reverse, and that seems it's easier for them to communicate better, in my point of view, and it comes in more clearer in understanding them. Just my point of view, and that's how I think it just works. It better. It's just all reverse, and it's just like a better communication one-on-one. You also have Pasculia 2 and 1, where it's like where you could set the setting to a certain setting and have a one-on-one conversation with it, instead of for a certain timer where it goes on and when it goes off, when it goes on and when it goes off. So that way there's a barrier between communication.
Yeah.
Right. And you also got the
Go ahead.
EMF box. Okay. The EMF box, ghost box, is high speed. High speed has got the a sensor on it, where if it's something he wants to talk, it can talk through it. It's like a sensor, and anything it picks up, trigger it where a word can come through. It's like a sensor thing on it. It's called the EMF ghost box.
All right. Now, what? Just before you were talking about the EMF ghost box, what are the differences between that one? I forgot what you were talking about there, but the one thing where I think you said something about continuously going, or it was a sensor. I forget what it was about. I lost my train of thought.
Oh, you mean it's about EMF ghost box sensor?
No, before
It's
you were
just a
talking
box.
about that. The other
Oh,
thing
Oh,
you
the
were
speed?
the
speed.
Not the speed. It started with an S, but I can't remember. It was before you were talking.
Yeah.
Sensor?
I think so. I can't remember what it was. Well, we'll leave that for later. Maybe he'll come back to me. Now, I mean, what? I'm trying to think of how to put this because here comes the devil's advocate in me. What?
They're hunting you down.
But aren't these apps just basically overglorified Frank's boxes that just scan through like radio frequencies or other frequencies, or is it just something special that is used in these apps to work with the spirit communication?
And I think it depends on the developer how they make. So I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I'm just because every guess that I have when there's something that I don't really, I don't use, and sometimes I don't trust them because I'd rather use my own abilities because my abilities are more accurate.
Yeah.
But I like to question. Okay. Glenn in the chat room, he helped me out here. SPECOULO. That's what we were talking about. That's why I was trying to get the question.
SPO, I don't know. Understand.
Speculo.
So, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. That's what I was trying to think of when I was talking about that S
Oh,
word. I couldn't think.
Yeah.
Speculio.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get out earlier with, but I couldn't think of the word and that you used and everything like that. So it's like, maybe I'll come back to me later. But what are now that we're on it, before I forget it again, what are the differences in that you were talking about earlier?
Okay, Speculio is where you could set a timer instead of having the banks constantly keep randomly going over and over and over and over again, keep going and going and going. It's where you could set a certain timer from, I think it's like 1 second to all the way up to like, was it like 20 seconds or something like that? And you can have it where, let's say you have it on 5 second delay. In other words, you speak into it, and anything comes through, it'll be up to that 5 second, then it'll stop. And then when you talk into it again, it'll go through it again, and then it'll stop at 5 seconds and randomly keep going and going and going. It's like a one-on-one conversation with the spirit world.
Okay, so there is a way to actually turn off that ability if you don't want to do that.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. So what you're basically doing with the one-on-one thing is you ask a question, and is it like wait 5 seconds and then it gives you the response, or is it give the response right away?
No, it will do is once you ask a question, it'll go through until it gets a response all the way up to 5 seconds, and after 5 seconds, it'll stop, and until you ask the next question.
Okay. let's see, we got about 5 minutes to the top of the hour.
Well.
Let's see. Now, I think we already covered this, but I want to go over it again because I know I asked this question at the start of the show, but for anybody that might have been tuning in late, are these apps just strictly Android, or can they be iOS apps as well?
And Android.
Yeah, it's always Android because the marketing on iOS is so expensive. It's for the people that create these apps. It's hard for them to have it on the iOS market because it's not cheap to them to pay out to have them on that market.
Okay, yeah, because the one, I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it was Necrophonic or something like that. That's the one that I looked up for under ITC Apps, and it came up with a video of that, and that was on. I like I said, I got an iPhone, so it was on an iOS operating system. That was $10, so that's why I was wondering if it's just on Android or on iOS as well.
Oh yeah, that is. I know what you're talking about, the Echo Box, right?
I'm not too sure. I'm not familiar with a lot of the apps because, again, I'd rather use my own abilities over any app. But
yeah,
it was Necrophonics. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Just to kind of get the word for it.
I haven't heard of it.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, whoops. Hit the wrong thing. Yeah, Necrophonic, new ITC app. That
really?
I guess that video came out in June of this year, but it's an iOS app. Because I know I said, let me go to my phone on the Apple iTunes store and look up that app just to see. And like I said, it came up for $10, so that's why I was wondering if these apps were mainly just Android or if they were iOS as well.
Oh well, yeah, they have some of them. Not the ones that the persons who created it, Brian Hawley and Harvey R. Is just strictly Android devices. But whoever ever has their own apps on the Apple iOS phones, those are other creators. Okay, but yeah, there is different creators. Yeah.
Okay, so those ones on iPhone are by somebody else.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to send you guys the link to that video just so you can check it out. Because it almost sounds like some of these apps. Now, I don't know if you were there, Nicole, when somebody at David's house when he was using something like this or not. I don't think you were.
Probably not.
But, I mean, you talked about like an echo coming from it, and that's almost what it sounded like coming through it. It sounds like these apps, but it was like but it definitely had that ambient sound and everything like that playing in the background. So I don't know if it was one of these ITC apps or if it might have been somebody else. Like I said, I only briefly saw it, so I don't know. I didn't ask them. But yeah, no, I just wanted to find out about the iOS or Android on them and stuff like that. All right, so we are at the top of the hour here. We're going to go into a commercial break, but we'll be back after this short commercial break with your phone calls and questions for my guests, Bill Betts and Nicole Gaspard.
Do you have a talk radio, Facebook Live, or YouTube show and would like guests for your show but don't know where to go to get them? Well, go to radioguestlist.com and sign up today. They have all different experts in different fields and you can find the ones that are just right for your show. That's radioguestlist.com. Sign up today. It's free.
If you like finding out about different things in the paranormal field, such as ghost stories, haunted locations, UFOs, cryptozoology, and much more, well, check out Into the Paranormal on YouTube and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Videos are posted once a week. Are you a ghost hunter or paranormal enthusiast and need equipment to go out and investigate locations that have spirit activity? Well, GhostStop.com has all the equipment that you will need. They have a Boo Buddy ghost hunting kit for $169.95, or how about a Keep Calm and Ghost Hunt t-shirt for $19.95. Click on the banner ad at the top of the Talking Tonight website and get shopping today. GhostStop.com, your one-stop shop for all your ghost hunting needs. To the show, Skype Talk in the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. And now back to Talk in the Night with your host, Paranormal Phil. Okay, and we are back with my guests, Bill Betts and Nicole Gaspard. And in this last hour, we're going to open up the phone line. So whoever was calling earlier, now the phone lines are open. If you want to call in and ask them questions, or if you want to pop in the chat on Spreaker, go to Spreaker.com, find the Tonight Show live show, click on the little chat bubble, pop in the chat, say hi, let me know you're listening, and you can ask the questions there if you don't want to call. So the phone lines are open if you want to call in. So if we get any questions or any calls, we'll go to that. But until then, where can people find these apps? Are they? And I know you said they're just mainly Android and stuff like that, but how can people search these apps, basically, just by going to Google or the Google Play Store or what?
Yeah, the Google Play Store.
Okay, so
yeah.
Okay, so I mean, can you find out, what I'm basically asking is, can you find out information on these apps, like by going to Google or another search engine?
Yes, definitely. When you go to Google Play, it tells you everything about it right there and then.
All right, well, we got a call coming in. Let's see if we can get this. And let's see if I can get them on the thing here. Okay. Let's see if they'll let me add a call or not. Let's see. Let me answer the call. It might put you guys on hold. We'll be right back with you in a second. Here, I'll relay the message. Okay, you're on there. Let me see if I can get the other guys added back to the call or not.
Okay.
Hopefully I can. Okay, well, let's see. It looks like I can get one of them back.
One.
Let's see. Because I don't know what... I haven't had a chance to figure out this whole taking calls while guests are on the thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Skype's being stupid. So what is your question?
Okay, I'm in the paranormal, been an investigator since the mid-1970s, and I specialize in EVP, AVP analysis. And I question any claim of any app being able to do anything for the simple reason that a phone lacks the hardware to detect anything that would be from the spirit world. There is no spirit detector in or built into a phone.
Yeah.
So my question becomes, what does the phone use, or what can the spirit use in the phone to interface with the hardware to cause the message to come across that's claimed?
Okay, so let me see if I can get the people back here.
Okay.
And let's see. Let's see if I can add them into this call. There you are.
Hey.
All right. We got you, Nicole. Do we have Bill on there too, or?
Hopefully.
I do not hear him, and I don't know if we're back with. And do we have the caller on the line as well?
I'm here.
Okay, so we got one of the guests. I don't know where the other one is. Shoot. But go ahead and ask your question again, and maybe Nicole can answer it for you.
Okay, from a technical point of view, I'm in the electronics field, and I'm familiar with what's built into a phone. And my question becomes, what hardware is located inside of a telephone to allow a spirit to interface with the phone in order to cause any kind of a reaction? See, I question any app or phone being able to do anything in the way of paranormal investigations.
Right. I'm not technical, so I wouldn't know how I can answer that.
Okay. Well, I'll say this, and I agree with the caller. I mean, like I said, I'd rather use my own abilities to see and communicate with the spirits than any kind of electronic device, because, I mean, I know what I'm hearing rather than relying on some electronic device.
The other question I'd come up with here, listening to the entire first hour, at no point anywhere did anyone mention or consider the possibility of pareidolia. And pareidolia, from my analysis, because that's one thing I do, and I do it for other groups as well. They submit audio recordings, EVP, AVP, and the such here into my lab, and I have the hardware to actually analyze, do speech analysis. And what's lacking in every one that comes through, especially from an app, is the phonemes that make up the message. They'll claim the message is there, And when I break this down, run it through a frequency analysis and put it on display it on an oscilloscope, the supposed phoneme is not even present because the scope doesn't suffer from pareidolia.
Yeah.
And the reason that comes into play is because the mind, you're preconditioned. If you ask a question, you're expecting a certain response. Like if you say, "Is there anyone here?" The obvious answer, what your mind is already keyed to accept, is yes, there is someone here. Therefore, any sound is already conditioned to be toward the positive.
Yeah.
And when you couple noise into it, and that's what the app does. All these phones that create what echo and whatever else they do, the cadence of human speech, which that's where the scanning comes into play. If you ever notice the scanning, almost every time they say the optimum scanning, 100 milliseconds. Well, guess what? 100 milliseconds is the average cadence for human speech. That's where each speech pattern changes. So when you get the phone breaking it down to do that, you've conditioned your mind to expect it, and any noise in there, you're gonna claim to hear it.
Yeah, like I was trying to play devil's advocate with the whole Frank's box. I mean, it's just scanning through the radio stations, and you're going to pick up words. Right. And it doesn't mean that those words are contextual or anything like that regarding what you're trying to ask. I mean, you're just listening to the words, and you're not thinking, okay, these are words coming through, but do they mean anything?
No, well, you bring an interesting, when you mentioned Frank's box, one of the things I did here in my lab, I went online here a few years ago when it was really popular, and they had the plans to build Frank's box. Now, I have the facilities here to actually design and build electronic equipment. And I went on, got the pictures and everything, and I built Frank's box as close as I could. I had the schematic of it here, and I even went to the point of using the point-to-point wiring that he did on his original box. And I built one here and put it under the test. Now, what I did, the only thing I added to it was, because Frank's box, it basically jumps around from one frequency to another, scanning across the radio frequencies, and it hits certain stations at certain times. Now, what I did that he didn't have, I also measured the voltage going to the chip that selects the station, and from that, I was able to determine what frequency it's tuned to every time it made a switch. And it kept my computer kept a log of the stations it was tuning to, and just here in this particular area, at the time I did it, I ran the experiment. It was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and one of the spirits that kept coming across, I'm going to call it the spirit that kept coming across here, sounded a lot like Rush Limbaugh. Well, guess what? I looked at the frequency, and by frequency, I was able to cross-check that to a local radio station, and guess who was on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the time?
Rush Limbaugh.
Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah, like I said, it's just scanning through the station, so all you're doing is hearing who's on that station, and it's just picking up those words, and not actually, you're not hearing actual spirit speak to you. You're just picking up on those frequencies from the station.
Yeah. See and this is where the problem comes into play that I mentioned earlier. To do this, I mean, theoretically, it's possible. Let's say the spirit knows or is able to manipulate to pick a station that it would have to know what the speaker on that station is going to be saying at just that particular instant, and then it's going to have to apply the proper voltage to the tuning chip to select the station it needs to get the particular sound that it needs so it can assemble it into a word to make a message. Now, in order to do this, the spirit would have to know what the speaker is going to say before he says it, and it's going to have to do this. We don't have a lot of leeway there because the voltage is between one station to jump from one station to another. We're talking tenths of a volt. Now, how is a spirit going to manipulate that voltage on this pin to cause that chip within a tenth of a volt? Of course, I don't think spirits carry voltmeters around with them, so they don't know what the voltage is at any given time.
Yeah, of course, they don't have vocal cords or anything like that. But
Right.
I mean, like for digital recorders, I believe they're manipulating the electromagnetic field for something like those. But for these apps, like I said, it just concerns me that, like that, the ITC apps, the Ovilus and stuff like that is just scanning through random words programmed into the thing, and it's not the actual spirit speaking.
Right. Yeah, well, see, the closest thing, and it's the one thing I've heard of a few people that have tried it. I've had no luck with it. Actually, one of the experiments I did here in an attempt to do this was using an electrostatic sensor with the idea that there's a learning curve to it. But my plan was that if we wanted to converse, was use speech synthesis with phoneme-based speech synthesizer. And if you activated a particular switch, we'll call it switch, it's actually an electrostatic or electromagnetic sensor, that the spirit could learn that all it needed to do was activate this sensor, and you could make this thing make an S sound, an E sound, and all it would have to do would be to select the right ones. There'd be a little bit of a learning curve there, but if it wanted to put a message together, just hit the right letter at the right time. But there was no indication that the spirit was able to even activate the thing.
All right. Well, yeah, thank you for your input. Like I said, I agree with you, caller, and everything like that. I'm going to try and get the other guests back on the line when I answered your thing. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the, when somebody calls the phone line, it just cuts off anybody that calls the phone line. I think I'm going to have to get a second Skype number just for one for the guests and one for the listeners. But when I got Skype, I can add that person easily to the call, and it's no problem. But phone calls...
Yeah, I tried to come in through the chat room, and I was going to ask the question on there, and I had to register, but the Spreaker never sent me the verification, so I don't know where I could to activate an account, so I don't know what happened there.
Don't worry about it.
I can read the chat, but I can't type anything into it.
All right, not a problem.
Okay.
All right, thank you for your call. All right, let's get back to... Right now. All right, so let's get back to my guest here, and let's see if we can get Bill back. Let's see if he's back. Bill, are you there? No, he's not. Let's see if it'll ring it here. I might have to have him call in. Okay, so... All right, so I'm going to get Bill back on, but like the guest or the listener was saying, Nicole, and I'll ask Bill this when we get him back on the air, because once Bill calls, I might have to add you back to the thing here in a second, but it'll be real quick. All right, Bill, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so when I think I got it figured out, I'm going to add Nicole back to the thing. I'm going to have to do some more research on the whole Skype thing, because it's when I go to when somebody calls into the phone line, not the actual via Skype, then it makes it hard to add a listener call to this thing. But but the listener, I don't know if you were listening while you were off the air, Bill, about what the listener had to say, that there is really nothing in these apps that are like I said, like when I was playing the devil's advocate earlier, that there's nothing really in these apps that really say you're actually communicating with the spirit. And he brought up pareidolia, which is a big thing in the paranormal field. And I probably should have brought it up myself, because you're hearing what you want to hear, but he said he's in the like the that kind of field where running these audio apps and testing the audios and frequencies and stuff like that, and our minds are programmed to hear what we want to hear, but how basically the question is, how can you say it is the actual spirit talking? Do you know that it is the spirit? I guess that's what the question was from the listener.
Okay, how do I know if a spirit's communicating with me? Sure, that's no problem. Well, if I ask a spirit what his name is, it'll tell me his name. And I'll hear it come through. And another thing, it's all reverse chopped up audio. And a lot of people that use these apps has been scratched, had physical contact. Some people had their hair pulled in the back. Mm-hmm. I was literally, when I used this app, I literally myself had it where something was touching me in my back of my neck. I had that happen to me, and I was there. Right.
Yeah, I think what he was getting at is, yes, it might say those words. Like I said, it's programmed into, and like I said, I gotta look at. For me, I look at the terrestrial explanation before I say anything is paranormal. I've learned that a long time ago in the field.
Right.
I got that skeptical side to me that keeps me grounded in the field.
Right. Well, that's that's
like I said, this is just the listener's question was, even though those words are programmed into the thing, basically what he was asking, do you really know that it is that spirit talking, or even though it says your name, do you know that it is that spirit talking, or if it's just the words that are programmed into the app just saying it?
Oh, on my point of view,
yeah.
I know it's talking to me, because if it says my name, I know it's talking to me. Because how can any app itself say your name out of something that's been chopped up audio? It's just not possible.
Okay, yeah.
So I know there's something talking to me.
Yeah, because like I said, the callers mentioned about the Frank's box and stuff like that, how he has engineered his own Frank's box. Basically, I think he said when they first came out and stuff like that, and he tested the frequencies, and when a word came through, the person that, or the thing that said the word, what sounded like Rush Limbaugh. Well, he went back through the frequencies and looked, and it was Rush Limbaugh on the air at the time that that word came through, because I guess it records it and everything like that. So that's why he was wondering about the whole pareidolia of hearing words what we want to hear, and maybe it's actually not the spirit. So I'll let you guys answer that question.
I was wondering, how some people hear certain EVP a certain way, if that's what you mean. Is that what you mean, Bill?
Yeah, I mean, if even with a EVP, I'll give you an example. There are some EVPs that are very hard to hear, but you might actually pick up on a word or what your ear's hearing, but maybe it's no word at all, or it's not saying what you think it said.
Right.
Right. That's why you go around and you ask everybody else, what did they hear?
Yeah, that's why I like live.
Right. That's why when we do live sessions, if she hears something, I can hear it too. And if I understand what she heard, I could tell her, it did say that.
Right.
That's, you always have somebody with you when you do these apps or something. That way, if you got a reply from it, you know somebody else got the same reply that you just heard, and it makes it better.
And this is why I asked Nicole this earlier in the show, is about, since she is psychic, like myself, which I'm highly psychic, but
yeah.
If when you're running these things, if you actually hear the spirit's voice along with it, because that would actually validate what is coming through. Whereas if you're listening to Frank's Box or something like that, and you hear the word coming through, you're just relying on that app, is what I'm saying. So that's why I wanted to know if there was any validation between the spirit world and what is coming through on these apps from Nicole.
Right.
So, I mean, Nicole, have you ever gotten like that validation where you heard the spirit say that same word that you heard from the app?
I don't think I have.
Okay, yeah, like I said, I mean, I got to play devil's advocate here. I have to. I mean, there was a guest that I had on. I had a guest on that talked about. We were talking about the JFK assassination, and I had a different belief on what actually happened. And of course, this guest, excuse me, believed the official story. But I always play that devil's advocate and look at the other possibilities and stuff like that. And I'll ask the guest that just, and of course, this guest got mad at me because I brought up some other opinion. I'm not saying you guys are mad. I'm just saying, I'm just kind of using that example. No. But that's why I bring up this whole devil's advocate thing. Try to get different, what your thoughts are on it.
Opinions. Yeah, I understand. That's really understandable too, you know, and I respect that. You know, you got to be skeptical about things, and I agree with you. You have to, you know.
I've never done one thing. Can I share real quick? I not necessarily heard the spirit. When we were running the app, I saw something go by me. You remember that, Joe?
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, she had a shadow that came through. It was like a mist.
Okay, so this was on the Facebook Live session. You kind of noticed it and everything like that.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Now, was that when? We got Brian in the chat room, and he's like, I can hear you, but I can't see you. This is only audio, Brian. There is no Facebook Live. There's no video. This is actual radio.
Yeah. I know who Brian is.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is just radio. So, if you guys got any questions, feel free to pop in the chat, ask a question, or call via Skype, Talking the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. And yes, it'll cut off one of my guests, but we'll get him back, and I'll relay the message like I did here. Don't worry about that. I'll have to work on that probably this weekend just to try and figure it out. I just get so busy with everything that I never have time to do much.
Yeah.
But what are some of the other things that you've experienced? And we're going to get into this question after the commercial break, but what are some of the other things that you've experienced while running these apps? And we'll get into the answer for that after we get back from this commercial break, and more of your phone calls for my question or guests or questions in the chat. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
Running from the voice inside me, away from the pain.
When you subscribe to Sylvia Schultz's YouTube channel on the video Lights Out number 63, The Farmhouse Fiend, and mention Talking the Night in the comments, you will be entered into a drawing for a copy of her books, Hunting Demons, and her newest book, Spirits of Christmas. Just click on the banner ad on the Talking the Night website. On Friday night during open lines, be sure to listen into Talking the Night for a chance to win a free signed copy of Nicole Gaspard's book, Dark Pathways. Details on the contest will be posted on the Talking the Night website and Facebook page on Friday morning. Just for Talking the Night listeners in the month of November, go to crystalhoperead.com and receive 25% off a pet psychic reading. That's right, get 25% off a pet psychic reading just for Talking the Night listeners in the month of November. Go to crystalhoperead.com and mention Talking the Night. To call into the show, Skype Talking the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. And now, back to Talking the Night with your host, Paranormal Phil. Okay, and we're back. Sorry. Stupid spirits are communicating with me, and of course I'm not using no app. They're actually communicating with me. It's like, because we're at that point of time when the veil between our world and the spirit world is at its thinnest, and they're coming through quite a bit because they know I can communicate with them. But I'm not doing any readings, so don't call in and expect a reading. It ain't happening.
No, you know what? That's just sure. That's fine.
Right. So let's get into that question that I asked before the commercial break, and I'm trying to remember what the question was that I asked. If you can remember what it was.
On experiences with them?
Oh yeah, that's what other things you've experienced while doing these sessions and everything. Let's forget about the whole apps and the words coming through them. Let's talk about the experiences that you've had from these sessions.
One in particular, I was out in the garage. Running, I was turning the door to slam really hard. I don't know if you remember that, Bill.
Yeah, I remember that. That was crazy. There's no wind or nothing either. That just happened. Boom. It shut itself.
Okay.
That was nuts.
So the door basically... Now, again, the skeptical side of me... because I've seen this happen in a location that I went to investigate, where of course there was no wind and the door would close or open and no wind. But upon further review and looking at it, that the door was actually slanted just slightly enough to where it actually would make that move. If it just was right on that right point, to where if you had it right at that point, it would either move to close or open. So I'm wondering if possibly that could have been the case, or do you know that that door was solid on its hinges?
Leave it wide open, so that was steady way to bad.
So it wasn't like halfway open; it was all the way open, and then it just shut completely.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So I mean, you mentioned no wind, but what about any kind of draft from air conditioner or anything like that? Or because I know we know spirits can manipulate objects. I'm just trying to think of any possibility that it could have been something else.
Right. I didn't notice any draft or anything.
All right. So, what were some of the other experiences that you've experienced with these? How about you, Bill? Anything that you've experienced while doing these Facebook Live sessions?
Well, there was a session when I was doing with her that she was running an app, and it's a nice cool day. It was like maybe like 76 degrees outside. It was nice outside. I had a garage closed, but it was still nice outside, and it was cool in the garage, and she was running an app, and I felt real hot. I kept getting hot. She kept on running an app, and I kept on getting hotter and hotter, and I was drinking water big time. I felt like something was... I got like I was on fire. I'm like, something's got to be done, and she turned it off, and then I got cooled down. That was weird. That was really weird, the experience I had. And I also had a experience when I was at a cemetery. I felt something was near me when I was running Brian's app. Like when I was running and I was walking the field doing my investigation, something was actually like looking at and like pulling me back by the back of my shirt. It's like it was pulling me back. Like, what's going on? Something didn't want me to go to that certain location. I had that experience.
Was that while she was running the app, or?
One of them was with the live feed when I got real hot, yes, and the other one was just me going out in the field running these apps.
Oh, okay. So you have run the apps, it's just not while on the live feed.
Well, yeah, I run apps, yes, when I'm off the live feed. I do my own thing, investigations and all that stuff, running EVPs and running their apps. That's what I do. And I'm doing live, I'm live with her while she's running her apps, and when we try working out to see what's coming through,
Okay, now, I mean, you mentioned about it getting hot in the garage all of a sudden. Now, I've experienced the opposite, where I've talked about this last night on the show with my guest last night, where I was in a room that it was very warm, middle of summer, all the windows, doors closed, 15, 20 people in there. Felt like probably about 120 degrees in there with everybody, because it was 105 outside, and the temperature dropped down to 70 when I opened up that portal for that spirit to cross over. But do you think that possibly running these apps that you might be putting in and of course this is your opinion and my opinion and everything like that,
right.
That
no problem.
This is possibly something dark, or if you want to believe in demons or something like that, could it be something like that that's actually coming through rather than actual light spirit?
Well, I don't think it could be dark, or I think it's something. I'm not going to base it on either evil or good. It's just something that probably didn't want me there with her live, and it was trying to trigger to make me real hot. And it's like, hey, get off of the line, or something. It was telling me something. I know that, but I don't base it on evil or good. I base it on what it is. It could be evil, it could be good. I don't know. There's no answer for that question, But if something don't want it, I want you there, it's gonna do what it wanted to do. Good or evil.
Yeah. Now, Nicole, how many times have you, or you mentioned about getting scratched and everything like that? How many times since you've ran this app that you've felt something like that?
I lost count.
So basically, too many to count. Basically,
Yeah.
I've gotten quite used to it.
yeah. Because see what, and of course, the spirits are wanting to come through. Because, like I said, the veil between our world and the spirit world. And yes, I'll give this message. Shush. What my spirit guides are telling me is this is actually dark that is coming through these. Now, I mean, anybody listening to the show can believe what I say or not. Same with you guys. It's up to you. But, I mean, I got plenty of people that will back my abilities to what I'm hearing and actually validate what I'm saying. So, like I said, it's up to the listener to decide whether they want to believe me or not, or even when I do readings, it's up to them, because Nicole knows no psychic is ever going to be 100% right. It just ain't going to happen. But that is actually what I'm hearing. They're not to the point where they're total darkness, or demons, if you want to call them that. But they are very mischievous spirits. If I can talk tonight, malevolent spirits.
I call it pranksters.
So, I mean, as I've said many times before, and this is for all the listeners that are listening to the show and want to use these apps and stuff like that, or even like the Ouija board or anything like that, it's the intent that you put into it. If you're going to put that wrong intent into it, that's exactly what you're going to get out of it. Me being a light worker, I put just that bright white light, that goodness into the intent that I do when I do readings or do investigations. I don't go in with that intent like, okay, I just want to communicate with spirits. So I want to put out that disclaimer out there for anybody that is just getting into the field or wants to get into the field and hears this. Do your research first. That's what I'm basically saying. So, like I said, that's why I wanted to ask if you thought some of these entities coming through this app, if they could have been dark or something like that.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything's possible. It could be light, it could be good, it could be evil. But yeah, anything, if it wants to come through, it's going to come through. Like you said, it's what you put into it, is what you get back out of it. And anything that wants to come through, it's going to come through no matter what. If it's evil or good, it will come through if it wants to. And, and everything else.
Right.
All right. So we got about 15 minutes left in the show. If you guys have a question to ask my guest, Again, the phone lines are open by Skype, Talking Tonight, or by phone at 817-717-5561. Or if you're on Spreaker in the chat room, feel free to pop in the chat, ask a question, say hi, let me know you're listening. So like I said, we're running out of time. What day, is there a certain day that you run these Facebook Live sessions that people can possibly watch and make up their mind for themselves?
Sure. We had it on Fridays, but we moved it to Saturdays.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saturdays, right?
Right. Saturdays.
At 7 p.m. Pacific time.
All right,
so right, that's her time in
Pacific
California.
On Saturday. All right,
yeah.
Where can they find these Facebook Live sessions?
My page or in my group. I usually have it in my Spirit Chasers group.
Okay, so
Spirit Chasers group. Yeah.
Let's give the listeners the full name so they can search it. It is Hemet, and because I know you change it from time to time, so I want to make sure. I'll let you mention it, Nicole.
And Hemet Paranormal Spirit Chasers.
Okay, so they can find those live feeds there.
Yes.
And everything. Of course, they can scroll down and look at past ones if they want to do that too. So basically 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Hemet Spirit. Hemet Spirit Chaser.
Hemet Paranormal Spirit.
Yeah, let me get to the Facebook page so I can pronounce it. Hemet Paranormal Spirit Chasers, HPSC. You can find them on Facebook. Now, are there any thoughts of doing something else besides the apps that you guys are thinking of doing? Or anything like that. And with this question, Bill, I'm going to let you mention about the new group that you formed.
Okay. No problem. I got a new group. It's called, what do you call it?
The horror movie.
Can't think of a name. Horror movies from the grave. That's the group. I just started it. It's all about horror movies. And everybody can come and join if they want to, but I'm going to have it for horror movies temporarily, but I will be changing it pretty soon as well to where it's all different kind of movies. But basically it's horror movies for now.
Yeah, because of the whole Halloween season, everything like that.
Yeah.
Next is probably Christmas. Christmas movies from the
I want to have it where everybody can enjoy a good time in a group where we can watch movies together, chat in a little watch party group, and enjoy watching movies together and having a good time together. It's more like a family,
Yeah. All right. And Nicole, want to let everybody know about your books and everything like that, and if you got any new books coming out.
Sure. I wrote 3 books, and I'm working on another project. The first book I wrote is Dark Pathways, and then Paranormal Diaries. That's started what I got in the paranormal. And the second book, Haunted Vessels and First Objects. And my third one, Whispers Within.
All right, and do you have any plans to write a new book, or are you working on other projects?
Right, I'm working on a couple other books right now.
All All right. So, do you want to let the listeners know about the little promotion thing? Of course, we played the commercial for it in the third commercial break, but do you want to let the listeners know about the little promo that you're doing for the show?
Sure. Yeah, about the 3 books, or if they want to sign copy, just send me an email.
All right, and of course, for those listening, if you want to get Nicole's book, Dark Pathways, her first book, this Friday night during open lines, I'm going to ask a question after the first commercial break, and of course, it's going to run from that point all the way to the end of the show. The first person to call in with the right answer, you cannot be in the chat room and answer the question. It don't work that way. You must actually call in to answer the question to have a chance to win Nicole's book, Dark Pathways.
Right.
The details on the question will come on Friday. I'll probably post. I'll definitely post about the question coming up, but I'm not going to pose the question until I'm actually on the air because I don't want people to have time to research the guest. I want them to actually listen to the show because it will be part of the show or part of this week's show. So if you're listening to the shows this week, it's going to come up in one of the question's going to come from one of these shows this week. So you must be listening to the Talk in the Night this whole week, because if you miss the shows, you might miss the answer. All right. So what? Let's get one last question before we get to the end of the show tonight, and that is. This Saturday, what app are you going to be running on that Facebook Live session? Or do you?
We usually just
I really don't have it
randomly
written down. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, we
feel
usually do it randomly.
Okay,
Yeah,
you just
random.
do it randomly, whatever. You don't have it planned out, basically.
No.
No.
Whatever I
Alright.
can let him.
All right, just go where the wind takes you, basically. All right.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you, too, for coming on the show and everything like that.
Thanks
It's
for having
been
us.
great.
Yeah, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it, Phil. It's been an honor, man. Thank you so much, buddy.
Yeah. And hold on, let's real quick. Because Brian's in the chat and he can't find me on Skype. So let me type this in the chat room real quick because maybe he has a quick call to call in.
All right.
And I'll mention it while I'm typing it in the chat. Brian, in the chat, hey, if you go to Skype and in the search bar, type in Talk in the Night, all one word. And that should bring up my Skype and everything like that, and you can call there. But so I'm going to give you 1 minute, Brian, to try and call in because we're almost out of time. We got like 5 minutes left. But while we're waiting, again, thank you for coming on the show, being a guest on my show. I give everybody the opportunity because not everybody's going to believe everybody's opinion on the paranormal.
Right.
Nobody's ever going to do that. Nobody's ever going to agree. So I want to give everybody the chance to come on. Oh, okay. Here we go. Let's see. Well, we got John Silva. I don't know who that is. Let's see. All right. So I accepted him to my Skype. I don't know if that's Brian or what. But hello. Thank you for coming on Skype here with me. But, of course, we don't got a call coming in from this person. So if you want to call in and ask my guest a question real quick, you can do so. Like I said, I'm running out on time here. So actually, we'll save the call for next time. So what we got coming up tomorrow night, and I got to get to the show's website. Tomorrow night is now Coast to Coast AM. If you've ever heard that show, they every year during Halloween they have Ghost to Ghost AM. Or Ghost to Ghost, actually. They don't do the AM part of it. It's just Ghost to Ghost. Well, I'm doing my own version of it, which is Ghost Talk. And it's basically a form of open lines. But instead of sharing your stories, experiences, or even asking a question, all I want to hear are your ghost stories. If you got a creepy ghost story, call into the show, share your ghost story, or even type it into the Spreaker chat. That's what we got coming up tomorrow. Then, of course, Thursday, we're going to be joined by my guest, Crystal Reed, as we talk about animal communication and pet psychics, which you can find a banner ad for what she's giving away to the listeners on the Talking the Night website, talkingthenight.weebly.com. And then, of course, Friday night is back to the regular Friday night open lines. So you can call in Friday nights and share your stories, experiences, or questions. Also, when you go to talkingthenight.weebly.com, you can find out, you can check out past stories of the day. You can check out the story of the day, this day in history. And, of course, if you want to sign up for the Talking the Night newsletter, it's just $2.99 a month. If you want to advertise on the show and get your business or book or anything out there to people, contact the show on the show's website or at talkingthenight@outlook.com, and I will respond to you as soon as possible. So, again, thank you, Bill. Thank you, Nicole, for coming on the show. And for all those listeners, until tomorrow night when we have Ghost Talk on Halloween night, I shall see you on the dark side. Good night from Talking the Night.